Yo, here live in Chicago, home of the Chicago Bulls, home of the building Michael Jeffrey Jordan built.
Man, shout out to MJ. This game wouldn't be the same without him.
Yo, too excited about this last dance, Doc. Me and my brother was always in the backyard hooping, trying to act like we was part of that team.
So my MJ story, the first time I met him, I'm 18 years old, I'm working out for the draft. I hear he's gonna come to my workout. My biggest thing is like, all right, just don't pass out when MJ walks into the gym.
Growing up, I was the biggest Michael Jordan fan. Born in 95, but I watched all the tapes, Come Fly With Me, To The Max, Michael Jordan Playground.
Watching him play on TV and seeing how great he was, how dominant he was, that really inspired me.
You know, Michael Jordan means so much to myself and to just the game of basketball.
Big shout out to the Bulls back in the 90s. What time is it? One time.
Welcome to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols alongside Jay Williams from his home in New York City and Paul Pierce, who is in LA with me, but we're social distancing, Paul. We're good. Coming up, Michael Jordan recently told The Athletic that people are going to think he's, quote, a horrible guy after watching that Last Dance documentary you just saw all those stars talking about. Does he have a reason to be worried? We will discuss that. But first, the NBA's Board of Governors is meeting this afternoon, and obviously the top of the agenda is figuring out a way to salvage the 2020 playoffs in some form. While Commissioner Adam Silver has stressed the league won't make any firm decisions until at least May 1st, what's becoming clear is that if there is a path forward, it will be without fans in the stands. We've heard this week from Dr. Anthony Fauci, who told Snapchat that he does see a scenario where pro sports return this summer, but without fans. And LA Mayor Eric Garcetti went a step further, saying the ban on large gathering of fans at sporting events and concerts here in LA could last until 2021. There's also the example across the globe. Taiwan's Super Basketball League has restarted, guys. The league is essentially playing in a bubble-like small gymnasium with no crowd. Now, mind you, they only have 5 teams and the virus more contained than it is currently here in the U.S. But, Paul, the bottom line is it seems clear if the NBA is going to restart, fans won't be there. How do you think that will affect players?
It's hard for me to see the best players at their best because I know me as a player, I really fed off the crowd. I mean, a reason I even went to Kansas University was because the crowd drew me in. I mean, when you go on those runs as a scorer, as a player, as the team, and you're putting together these runs, you waving up to the crowd, you want to hear this, that, you know, emotions of the game. It takes all the emotions of the game out. To me, it's going to look like probably like a glorified pickup game. But, you know, I'm an emotional player. I need the crowd, so it'll be difficult for me. You know, for some players, maybe not so.
You know what, Rachel, I would say is that, is it going to be different? Yeah, of course it's going to be different. But I would implore every player out there to think about what are the real challenges that our country has to face, right? And I understand what P is saying about, you know, manufacturing that energy. It's hard to do so, but we did play AAU basketball for our whole lives in gyms without people. Like, so but I know we had
crowds. We had our parents in the stands.
I hear you, Paul. This is exactly my point. If you and I were going after each other, we were talking trash, you would find some way, because you were the truth. You were the best at trash talking to get yourself lost into the game. I know you use fans, but you would still find a way, Paul, to get lost in the passion of the game. So I think that's what we're going to have to see players do. You know what I mean? You're the best at it. You know how to do that.
It'll be tough. I
don't know if they're going to have to do them on a tape delay also, guys, because I got to tell you, I know from working the sidelines of your games, there is so much cursing, and in an empty gym, you would hear all of that. I'm not kidding. Like, I don't know if there would have to be someone on the button the whole time, but that would be a legit thing. And I promise you, guys, when they're in the flow of the game and as competitive as you guys are talking about and trying to hype themselves up and feed off each other, it's not like they can think of like, oh, I got to watch my tongue, that sort of thing. So I think that is something that the league would have to figure out. And of course, officials and how much guys talk to officials and they talk during the game, I think is going to be a factor too. It could be fun for fans to hear the players talk to each other more. I definitely know, Paul, you were into the trash talk when you played. If fans got a constant stream of what you said during a game, not because you were mic'd, just because there was nothing to drown it out, how do you think that experience would be for the rest of us?
Oh, man. You know what? It would not be for kids. I'm telling you. If you think about players, and I'm not even at extreme level. When you talk about on an extreme level, players that you knew were going to be talking and a lot of curse words or explicitives would come out their mouth. Gary Payton, for one. KG. How would that sound on TV? This would be something you would have to put on pay-per-view, honestly. I mean, it would be...
Look, Rach, this is Paul. If people could hear what Paul said to me when I was a rookie, when I was in Chicago, you'll be losing your fit. You'll be having the best time watching the best basketball. How about that?
That's certainly true. And by the way, it's a good point, Jay. It's not just curse words. It's sort of the idea, the pictures that Paul would paint to the opponent of their family relations or other things like that. And that stuff will have to be taken care of. We'll see. It does look like the reality we are going to be talking about. So it is something players will have to adjust to. And I think you're right, Paul. It will affect some of the way they actually play. And they will have to figure out how to deal with that. All right, coming up, I'm thrilled.
You know who would be the best player in the league with no fans? Kawhi Leonard. He's already probably the best player, but Kawhi Leonard, he doesn't need fans. He doesn't need the emotion. He's going to play it like he plays all times.
There you go. Sabrina Ionescu joins the jump after this. Here's our distant replay, this date in NBA history.
Saying that if you catch a ball where Rodney caught it and then got into the lane. Oh, Desmond Mason. 10 for Desmond Mason. Wow. That's serious. 6'5".
Then they had the coaching change. And remember, Mike Krzyzewski was going to be the guy. It could have been his job. They passed on it. Here goes Kobe. And Kobe's able to put one in left-handed as the shot clock expires.
It's only fitting that the guy who got the 20 points did it with a sensational shot.
Geico has the insurance industry-leading app that lets you manage your policy anytime, anywhere. Which means that Geico is always there for you. If only everyone was always there for you. Like animal control, when you're cornered in your garage by an angry possum.
Hi, me again. You guys said you would be here about an hour ago, and I think the possum is starting to get angry. Listen, I thought if I fed it, it would go away, but now it is ripping holes in the drywall and making some sort of nest. Just call me back.
Geico, always there for you with savings and the industry-leading mobile app.
Coming up at 5 at SportsCenter with the PTI guys joining at 5:30, and we cap the day with another SportsCenter at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific. And tonight, the WNBA draft is going to be live on ESPN and the app, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. It'll be a virtual format with the dazzling Sabrina Ionescu out of Oregon, the name on everyone's lips. I want to welcome in Sabrina Ionescu, the projected #1 overall pick in tonight's WNBA draft. Sabrina, thanks so much for joining us. And I know it's such a busy day. We caught you in your car. I love that. What does it feel like to know after all these years, all the teams and games and practices no one was watching, you are getting drafted into the best basketball league in the world tonight?
I mean, it's an honor and it's amazing. I've worked for this opportunity in this moment my entire, basketball career. And so being able to kind of have it happen and be able to make that push into the professional league is just amazing.
So many years of work, but obviously it's a different draft than what you pictured. You're not going to be walking across the stage, shaking the commissioner's hand. So what will you be doing tonight at home instead?
Yeah, just watching it with my family, my brothers, my older brother's wife, and then my parents. And so we'll be able to celebrate, probably have a really good dinner and then, watch it and be able to be together. And then I'll probably after go swing by the rest of my family's house and just wave from far. And they're all in the Bay Area. And so just wanting to see their faces and hoping that, they can celebrate with me from far.
That's awesome. A respectable social distance, but still getting to see the smiles is amazing. maybe a New York strip steak for dinner, if I might suggest. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
The coronavirus shutdown, of course, hasn't just affected your draft. It, of course, took away your chance to win a title at Oregon, the thing you stayed in school for. Can you just take me through the stages of emotion last month as you came to terms with all of that?
Yeah, obviously really hard. I mean, getting that text from our coach saying that the NCAA tournament was canceled and we can remain where we are with our families and don't have to return back to school, it was shocking. I mean, I don't even think I was able to process it, and I'm still trying to process the fact that I've played my last game, with my teammates and at Matt Knight Arena and not able to play for a national championship, but just super grateful for the opportunity to return to Oregon for my last year and be able to ride that roller coaster of highs and lows with my team this year. That's something that I'm forever grateful for.
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite the 2020 already. Of course, you had something so emotional to deal with in February. Like so many of us, you were rocked by the death of Kobe Bryant. We've seen all the great video of you and him together, the interest he and his daughter Gigi took in you. And of course, you were able to speak at his memorial service. How often these days do you think about Kobe and what he would be saying to you now through this draft process?
Yeah, obviously a very tough 3 months, I would say. And very happy that I've had the support system of my family and my teammates in the University of Oregon to be able to be in such a tight-knit community that cares about me so much and have kind of wrapped their arms around me during this time. But obviously think about them every single day, think about all of them every single day, and sad that they're not able to really share this moment with me, and especially him who's mentored me through this entire process and was just so happy for the next step. But they're definitely watching and supporting from a better place.
Absolutely. I don't know if you and Kobe ever talked about his rookie year in the NBA, but he dealt with a lot of jealousy, static from some of the league's older players who were upset with how much attention he got right from the jump. You're coming into your league with so much fanfare. You're going to be playing on a team in the biggest media market of the world. Are you worried at all some of the older players are going to resent you or try to show you up in your early games?
I don't think I'm worried about it. Obviously, it's going to hold its own challenges of entering a new league with veterans that have been there for many years. But I'm just excited for the opportunity to learn from them. I think me as a person, I'm going to reach out to all of them and just thank them for the opportunity to grow. And hopefully, having my teammates there, understanding that, coming from Oregon and coming to New York, I'm just excited to learn from them and kind of enter that new stage of my life. And so hopefully there'll be no jealousy. And I'm just excited to kind of ride that roller coaster of being a professional.
Well, look, you're all going to be in it together, right? Especially after this whole period with the coronavirus shutdown. So that should affect the way people feel, just being happy to get back on the court and excited to be playing with you. Sabrina, we are excited to be watching you. We don't know when the WNBA is going to start. So much about scheduling is up in the air right now. But we do know when you're playing, you're going to give us your 100% max effort every moment. Thank you so much for being with us. Have fun tonight at the draft.
Thank you so much.
So awesome having Sabrina on the jump. Coming up, how effective would Michael Jordan's mid-range game been in today's league? How many points per game would he average? We will dive into that. Stick with us.
Today's horoscope brought to you by Geico.
Gemini, you may find yourself struggling with alertness today. That's because you stayed up last night, celebrating the hundreds of dollars a year you could save by switching to Geico. Your struggle will continue well into the afternoon during Philip's status meeting, in which you'll say, "No, Philip, I wasn't snoring. I have severe seasonal allergies." Your presentation was riveting. Well played, Gemini.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Let's get right to it. The Chicago Bulls have won their second three-peat. This is the kind of stuff that ESPN will eventually make a documentary about. They'll call it something like The Last Dance and make it a 10-part series and release it in the year 2020. It's going to be lit. You don't even know what that means yet. While I'm making predictions, jeans will get extra tight. There'll be a thing called a butt fumble. And this clip will be used to promote the documentary in a State Farm commercial. It's just a hunch.
Amazing. It's Crush Time. time here on The Jump. The NBA and WNBA are teaming up with Fanatics to sell face coverings with team and league logos on them to help stop the spread of coronavirus. All proceeds from the sales will be donated to Feeding America and Second Harvest Canada, in addition to Fanatics donating one face covering for every face covering purchased, which is pretty cool. Jay, I know in New York City you cannot leave the house or the apartment without covering your face. How much of a change has that been for you?
I got to tell you guys, I feel like I'm running out of breath. And the worst thing about it, don't judge me, but after a long day, when you have to smell your own breath, Paul Pierce, for long walks, for long periods of time, you're like, hold on a minute, I need to brush my teeth or get a breath mint. It's not the best, but the reality is, though, Rachel, like you have to do what you need to do in order to keep yourself and your family safe. So we've seen it in Asia for a long time. If that's the new norm in New York, then so be it.
Yeah, same here in Los Angeles, man. I don't go out the house without mine. But the difficult part about it is, like you said, is the breathing part. Because most of the time when I'm leaving the house, I'm going to ride my bike or go for a jog, and I find myself pulling the masks down so I could get a breath. So it's not conventional. I mean, but you know what the NBA is doing is stylish, because right now you can go on the corner and find a mask for $5, a regular one here in Los Angeles. But I haven't got used to it yet, and I know right now it's part of our everyday livelihood.
Well, I know that some people are going to be like, oh, yeah, they're slapping a team logo on everything. But just keep in mind, this is for charity. And if it is a way to get people who would normally not be into the idea of wearing something like this, well, it's got my team on it, so I'll wear it. That is a good thing. All right, a guest on Showtime's All the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, our friend John Morant, said he wants to either Drake or Lil Baby to drop his name on a track. Paul, you have had many songs drop your name. So who do you think will name drop Ja first, Lil Baby or Drake?
You know what? At first I would have said Drake, but I'm gonna say Baby, because he's one of the hottest rappers out. You know, I love Lil Baby from Atlanta. You know, I think it's free from the South, right next to Memphis where he's at. So if Lil Baby dropped your name, or Drake, you definitely made it, because I know I felt that way when I started hearing my name drop in some of these rappers. So that's definitely a mark that you've made it.
Yeah, I think Ja has a lot of respect for Drake. Who doesn't like Drake? But I think for his generation, Lil Baby will be the one that will really cement it home for him that he has arrived, that he is officially a superstar in the league.
Paul, how many songs do you think have your name in it?
You think I have?
Your name, yeah, like a dozen?
I think I'm going to count like around close to 10.
There we go.
I remember I made a CD with just rappers saying my name in a rap, and I used to listen to it at times when I would work out to it. It was just, I know it's an ego stroker, but it felt good to hear your name in some of these hot raps.
Shocking, Paul Pierce with the ego stroke.
The Paul Pierce CD dropping. Did he record something? No, just with his name in it. All right, ESPN's Kirk Goldsberry publishing this heat map yesterday. It highlights Michael Jordan's mid-range scoring prowess. But Jay, the question is, how effective would Jordan's mid-range game be in this era of basketball?
Jordan's mid-range in this era? Man, let me tell you something. Players always make the adjustment. He averaged 30, 32, 35. Man, come on. Jordan would average more points. And in an era where we shot more threes, who can forget that memorable finals game when Jordan made, 5, 6, 7 threes against the Trailblazers and gave them this? I mean, people act like Jordan couldn't shoot threes. He would destroy the league now. I mean, he would be setting all-time records. There'll probably be a season he averaged 40 in this era, especially the way he got to the line. His mid-range would be most effective. I'm still upset because I was a mid-range guy that the mid-range is a lost art in this game. It's mind-blowing to me.
I don't know. I'd love to see Michael Jordan guarded by like Giannis or LeBron James or somebody who was really long, a Kevin Durant, see how he would have had to play that. But I always find this mid-range game so funny because I know the league has moved over to a three-point shooting league. But people absolutely destroy DeMar DeRozan because he leads the league in two-point shot attempts. Like all of a sudden, this style of basketball can't be effective. You can't win a championship this way. So as much as I think that Jordan would have adjusted and shot threes, I also think he would have stayed with his bread and butter. And maybe we wouldn't have this whole narrative that you can't win a championship with two-point shots.
Look, here's what I know about Michael Jordan from covering him. He didn't play to play his game. He played to win. That the most important thing to him was to win. So if it would have been, hey, I need to take threes to win, he would have developed that three to the point where he was at Steph Curry, Reggie Miller level. Like, that's what was important to him. So whatever the game style was in that moment, whatever he had to do, wherever he had to weight his game or learn to do better, that is what he would have done, because he was relentlessly competitive about winning, not about playing a certain way. It's just the certain way we know him having played is what worked in that era to win. That is at least what I believe. And guys, he was just as hard on his teammates as he was on himself. There's a Q&A that was published in The Athletic this week. Michael Jordan notes he believes people will perceive him in a bad light after this Last Dance documentary airs. He talked about times he was particularly tough on former teammates like Scotty Burrell. Jordan said, quote, "When you see the footage of it, you're going to think that I'm a horrible guy, but you have to realize that the reason why I was treating him like that is because I needed him to be tough in the playoffs." Paul, do you agree with Jordan's sentiment there?
Absolutely. See, I come from an era where, that was normal to get on your teammates, for coaches to get on your teammates in a bad way. And me as a player, when a teammate, Antoine Walker, KG, some of my teammates maybe cussed me out or got on me, it made me play harder. That was the era that we live in. Now we play in an era to where guys are more sensitive. He pushed his players. The thing is, what are we judged on as great players in this NBA? Winning. When Jordan got on his teammates, it was for trying to win, trying to be better. It wasn't because I didn't like a guy. It wasn't because I don't like what you're wearing. I don't like whatever, what you eat. It was because you probably wasn't playing hard enough. You didn't follow instructions and things of that nature. And at the end of the day, Michael Jordan's one of the greatest winners, so it all paid off, But today, I can't see like those hard-nosed coaches who get on players, like those hard-nosed players that get on players a la Jimmy Butler. People look at them in a certain way, but all they want to do is win.
I will say this, though, when there are costs associated with winning at all costs, and I think we're going to get a chance to peek inside what that prism is. And P, when you say that you and KG, you guys are almost like peers, though. You're allowed to do that. Who was really the peer of Michael Jordan? Maybe Scottie Pippen to a degree, but Scottie was kind of quiet. And how did everybody else handle the pressure that came along with that all the time? And, I know that we shouldn't mention LeBron's name when we're talking about the dominance of Michael Jordan, but I also think that this will give a chance for appreciation for LeBron fans too, to see that LeBron, as hard as he is on his other teammates, like he raised their elevation in a different way. Like Jordan raised you by either saying get on board or don't get on board, where LeBron kind of picks you up verbally and tries to lift you that way. So I think two different styles, but both have their own costs associated with it.
The environment, though, is so different. LeBron, when he subtweeted, say, Kevin Love, people went crazy talking about how he wasn't a supportive leader. Michael Jordan punched Steve Kerr in the face. Literally.
Exactly.
It wasn't like he said something mean to him. He punched Steve Kerr in the face. So when we talk about Michael Jordan, it is a whole different bag. I am very curious to see what is captured in this documentary. I do think the Hall of Fame speech gave fans who didn't realize how tough he was a window. We'll see more on Sunday. All right, thanks Paul and Jay for joining me. Jump is back on Monday.